streets, yeah, yeah. Skanking streets. Everybody wanna feel like forget your troubles and rock with me. You're not feeling reggae music, sweet, yeah. It's skanking till the morning comes. Until the day and the troubles are gone. We're grooving in our Georgia day. We're grooving all my troubles away. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget the troubles and rock with me. Then I feel the reggae music singing. Yeah. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like forget the troubles and rock with me. And I feel the reggae music sweet. Skanking, grooving, hallelujah. And skanking, grooving. Oh. And she didn't know how to tell him she was in love with a Rasta man. Fire was burning and burning till she let out what she was holding in. She didn't know how to tell him she was in love with a Rasta man. Fire was burning and burning till she let out what she was holding in. No story before she said that he just wants her corporate. Find somebody that's corporate. Suit and time more appropriate. Him say him now make him daughter straight. But reggae music she start to play. I eat all food when she start to play. Militant youth what she want for date. And it is what she need. Start to read. And they start to read. But someone keep her off the street. Come who she with. And that be me. More than a tea what she see. She don't want to keep it a secret, but she can't tell him who she sleep with. She didn't know how to tell him she was in love with a Rasta man. Fire was burning and burning till she let out what she was holding in.
My name is Brianna.
Hi, Brianna.
Hi. Sun will shine in my day today.
jungle. What do you got for me now? Concrete jungle, and I've got to do my best. No chains around my feet, but I'm not free. I'm bound here in captivity. I've never known happiness. I've never known what sweet caresses love. I am always laughing like a clown. Won't someone help me cause life? I've got to pick myself from off the ground in this concrete jungle, 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 where the living is honest. Concrete jungle, oh man, I've got to do my best. Concrete jungle. Thank you.
Come on, let's hear it again for the band. So, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, you see that our culture is still alive, right? So, we're doing our part at the Moneague College. And for those persons who would have missed out, last week, Friday, would have held our inaugural Mr. and Mrs. Moneague Culture, Mr. and Miss Moneague Cultural Festival Competition. And there are some of the entrants at the back. You would stand, those persons who would have entered. I'm not seeing the first thing, but I'm seeing the runner-up. Let's put our hands together. And they will showcase a wide array of talents, talent piece and cultural wear, etc. And so we definitely are looking towards a better and bigger competition come next year with the support of all the community members and the different parties to ensure that we have success and we continue to live the culture in our communities. All right? We would have seen where in Trinidad and Tobago they would have to postpone a Vibes Cartel show, and that show was planned for the middle of their carnival season. And they decided to protest significantly that no, they don't want a reggae show in the middle of carnival. And so they had to make some changes. Alright? And so we too in Jamaica, we have to find creative ways to ensure that we maintain our culture and ensure that we put it out there on the world stage to ensure that we can get maximum returns from it. And I'm sure that is why we're here today. We're here to discuss, we're here to look at policies, etc. And so, my name is Howard McCullough, and I'm currently the head of the School of Humanities at the Moneague College. And, part of my responsibility takes in the Jamaica Day parades there, etc. And so we try to train our teachers too at the Moneague College so that they can go up there to become social studies and history specialists so that they can continue the banner where the college is. So why did we stop at Moneague? We did make the final stop at the Moneague College because at the Moneague College we are deeply rooted in culture also. And for some persons in the community, they may not even know that the Moneague College is, as you know, centrally located in the small rural village in St. Anne, a parish famous for the wonderful climate and the subterranean lake that we have, which rise periodically. But the property on which the college is located was first known as what? Anybody knows? Rose Hall. And that's why, we call over there Rose Hall community. Yes, so this community was first called Rose Hall. And it was purchased by its original owner, an Englishman, John Hutchinson. But when John Hutchinson left Rose Hall to his two daughters and stipulated that it would be the legacy of his grandchildren, but they failed to pay the taxes on the property. And so the government would have taken over the entire property. But according to local legend, the original building at the Moneague College, known as the Aubrey Phillips Hall, was affectionately called Block 5, and it was the famous hotel. And so, at some point, it also was occupied by the army. So there's a lot of history behind the Moneague College. And so the Moneague itself is the second hotel to have been built in Jamaica. So the first one would have been Titchfield. That's where tourism started.
That's where I'm from.
That's where you're from. And so later we would have had the Moneague, and you can see the burnt out part of the building there. We lost the hotel in 2010. But it was built back in 1890. So there's a lot of history here. And so what is left is still supported by the Heritage Trust in Jamaica. Alright? And so today we are here to talk more about this wonderful culture that we have, this Jamaican heritage, and also to look at the creative industries. So we're talking about industries, that businesses rely on for creativity, skills, and talents to generate new cultural contributions. We're talking about art and culture, the performing arts, visual arts, painting, sculpture, the museums, the galleries, the libraries. And if we're talking about designs, there are many persons out there who has a lot of talent when it comes down to product designs, interior decorating, fashion designs, graphic designs. There's so much for us to find our route in and to definitely thrust ourselves to make sure that can happen. If it's the craft, we're talking about the weaving, the furniture making, the jewelry making. And so we see when our guests come from abroad, they try to indulge in all of these bits and pieces to take back as some kind of memorabilia. If it is the digital and software, we're talking about computer games, software development, digital media. So there's so much in culture and the creative industries. And so we want to find a way, make footholds so that we can also make the best of it. And so we are going to have a wonderful day, wonderful evening. And so at this time, I now invite Mr. Lloyd Garrett from the Moneague Division, the councillor, to make welcome. Put your hands together for Mr. Garrett. I think that's the way you heard it. He's not. He's upstairs. All right, as soon as he gets here, we will definitely take that welcome. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I now invite and ask you to put your hands together for Laura Facey, CD artist. And so she's going to give us an introduction to her work and contributions to the Jamaican culture. Put your hands together for Laura.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I am Laura Facey, a somewhat controversial artist, known mostly for my redemption song Monument at Emancipation Park in Kingston, Jamaica, installed in 2003. Let me tell you how I came to be the creator of the monument. There was a notice in the newspaper advertising a sculpture competition. Artists had 6 weeks to complete their designs and enter with an anonymous proposal. I submitted my entry under the name Charles Lee, the combined middle names of my sons. The judges didn't have a clue who they were choosing. I won the competition and was asked to make the monument. It took a year to create the sculptures, 5 months of preparation, 5 months of carving, climbing up and down ladders and scaffolding, working on 2 giant blocks of styrofoam that were 10 feet and 11 feet tall, and 2 months of working in a foundry casting the work into bronze. After the unveiling, there was a furore. Some people liked the monument, some didn't. There was a song made, cartoons published, and for 4 months, my redemption song was in the newspaper daily. Redemption song is a prayer. It's a prayer for the trauma of enslavement to be washed away by the water that flows around the 2 figures. The monumental controversy that followed my monument allowed many difficult topics to be aired publicly. I am happy to say that the controversy is long over and people now enjoy visiting the sculpture. It has become a tourist attraction. The main themes in my work are transformation and healing. I take the strength, beauty, and history of our land and combine them with my personal spiritual alchemy. I have a studio in St. Anne, not far from here, where I created the monument. I work mostly in wood, cedar, mahogany, lignum vitae, wild tamarind, guango, and other woods. I've created a life-size carving of Christ for the St. Andrew Parish Church in Kingston, and a 25-foot tall walking tree that is at the Norman Manley International Airport. I have 7 young men who work with me. We work from 8:30 in the morning until 4 p.m., Monday to Friday, just like other normal human beings. Art making employs people like any other business. Imagine a world without art. No funky t-shirts for people to express themselves. No beautiful album covers to provide a visual accompaniment to music. No beautiful murals on our walls. No creative advertising. And no rousing theatre productions that combine art, music, and dance. No reggae sunsplash events. No Jamaica festivals. No Jamaica flag, and so on. Art, music, dance, and literature create our rich and vital culture. I visited Mexico City with my Jamaica School of Art classmates, and we found art everywhere, in their parks and on their streets. We were awestruck. The effect of public art is that it makes people feel as though they have a right to occupy the spaces. This is a wonderful thing. The job of an artist is to convey new ideas and concepts, to provide visual focal points, to celebrate meaningful events, to build bridges between people, and to create beauty and pleasure for others. Without it, culture has no way to reflect on what is happening around us or to reflect itself back to itself. So, I've given you a quick synopsis of my work. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask questions, receive questions, but if anybody has a quick question, please go ahead. Otherwise, back to your host.
Good evening, everyone. Congratulations on your spectacular work. I feel like I'm in the presence of a celebrity. I'm happy to meet you. I just want to know, was it deliberate for you to choose Charles Lee to enter as an anonymous sculptor for the proposal to be accepted?
The name Charles Lee.
The gender as well?
I wanted to be a man because I just thought it would totally, be different from what I am. So, and I have two wonderful sons, and I use their middle names. Have I answered your question?
Yes, you have.
Yes, you have.
You answered the easy part of the question.
Thank
Okay. Would you like to help me with the hard part?
No, when you enter the exhibition, and why did you choose the male name? Not just because it's your son.
You think I would have had better luck?
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
Did you think you would have had better luck?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that entered my mind. I just wanted to divert them from, the possibility. I mean, I thought they might recognize my style in what I presented,
Okay.
but actually because I entered a stonework, I made the figures in stone, I sort of came up with a different style that wasn't like me, so it totally confused them. Not that that mattered to them, they just picked what they felt would work, I think.
Okay, what motivated you to do that sculpture at Emancipation Park?
So I went through a difficult time, like a lot of us do. I had to go on a very serious healing journey. And the redemption song, the words for the redemption song is, none but ourselves can free our minds. So I had to literally rewire my brain. I went from a very negative person to becoming a very positive person. And I spent about 7 years rewiring my brain. And through that experience, and also learning to pray and to meditate, I transformed myself. And so I had that experience. And so I created the monument of these two people engaged with the divine. And so it was a prayer to recover from our country went through terrible times with enslavement. And so it's a prayer to recover from that. And that's what the water is symbolically washing away, the terrible traumas of the past. Does that help? My answer?
Not to focus just on the emancipation work, but as I came in, you were talking about the effect that it had on the psyche and the discussions that took place and so on. I have heard the statement that no publicity is bad publicity.
Exactly.
Do you feel that helped you in a recognition, a wider recognition in the country and elsewhere?
Definitely.
And isn't that the purpose of art?
That is the purpose of art.
Look at ourselves and think
Yes.
about how we react to it.
Yes, if I'd made something that didn't create a stir, then what's the point? And not that I set out to create a stir, but I think we move on.
Definitely. And if there, put your hands together. If there are any more questions, we can save them for the question and answering section. And so we know the interest of time. And so at this time I invite our counselor, and I ask you to put your hands together, the counselor, Lord God, as he is welcome into this meeting. Regardless.
Thank you, Mr. Master. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to all of us to be here and in all things give thanks. I'd like to, my task is very easy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to welcome all of you to this town hall meeting here at the Moneague College in the great division of Moneague. I'd like to first recognize and welcome former Minister of Tourism and former Member of Parliament, former Ambassador Aluna Sam. Put your hands together. I want to welcome our President and hope and trust that in the near future we can refer to her as the Minister of Culture. I'd like to welcome the Gordon. And thank you for coming to Southeast Center and have a look at some of our arts. And to also welcome to Moneague and thank him for organizing today's activity, the next Member of Parliament for Southeast Center, Dr. Kenshaw. I want to welcome you, the members of the different groups. Ms. Perkins, how are you? Good to see you. And I want to say Ms. Perkins is a member of the local public accounts committee, Center and Municipal Corporation. Great work, put your hands together for her. And the team from Walkerswood, I see persons from Claremont, from Golden Grove, from Moneague, from Pittsburgh. If we left out Pittsburgh, we never know. And so I want to welcome you, the JPs who are here, the era leaders, the young professionals, members of Moneague College. As we gather today, let us have a good time. Let us reason together. Let us learn together. And one thing I can say, Dr. Russell, going forward with God's help, we will make Southeast great again. So welcome. I want to recognize Mr. Clyde Fagan, and that's some other folks with you. I want to recognize Mr. Harvey and all those who are here to share this evening. May God strengthen us as we go forward. God bless. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Sir Garrett. Always present, ensuring that he takes the business of this division in good hands. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move right into the panelists, and I'm going to invite the following persons just to make their way, and they are going to be on stage, and we're going to ask for them to share in 2 or 3 minutes as it relates to culture and its relevance, its importance. Ras Takura, put your hands together for Ras Takura. Representative from Swansea Park Vendors Association, who is that individual? That person here? What's your name? All right. Mr. Eric Cleaver. Where's Mr. Eric Cleaver? Is he here? Representative? All right. Faith Pen. And that's Faith Pen Foods Vendors Association. And we have Itamar Alexander. Put your hands together for Itamar. And of course, there's a representative from Walkerswood Foods. Do we have that representative here today? And finally, we invite Ms. Denise Perkins from the Walkerswood Jerk Festival to make our remarks. And so, they are going to give us a 2 to 3 minutes introduction of themselves and their work and what they represent. So we're going to start in that particular order. Rastakura, so with you.
Yes. Good evening.
Rasta.
Good evening, how you feeling? Rastafari, how you feeling? When you say Jah, me you say Rastafari. Jah! Rastafari! How you mean? Dr. Russell. After me know Dr. Russell be my win. They say you don't tell them man I run things. Oh yeah, Rastafari not a come ready, we come red, green and gold. So we have all of them. So we are part of everything that is pushing consciousness. See, so We give thanks to be a part of the whole vibration and the energy and get the invitation, you know. But as it relates to culture, you know, culture is something that has been cultivated by a people out of their own consciousness. See, so whether it be a dance, whether it be a poem, whether it be a song or a carving, you know, these are the representations of culture that we can use to say, okay, you know, we come in a museum, you see an image of a man or a woman, and it was carved or it was whichever way they used to bring it into life. You know, these are different expressions of culture. Music, as I'm a poet, and a dub poet to be particular, or, you know, to be exact, you know. So this is my way of expressing my culture from within my community to the world, you know. So culture on a whole, or music on a whole, or these expressions on a whole, it have a undeniable ability to bring people together. See, whether it be the art or the Emancipation Park where a lot of people go on. Some woman go there look on the man, and some man go there look on the woman, and some people go there look on both of them. You know? I say, boy. So alright, someone has said, boy, that art, you know, it's like lift up because you get in front of a nice empress and, you know, so it's just, you know, look nice, but it's a part of what the art is supposed to do. The art is supposed to stimulate a conversation. You know what I'm saying? And it's a great thing to actually meet the artist. I went for a store, me get them a bring on your order and all them something and buckle a thing and everything, but give thanks, man, it's just art at the end of the day. Rastapura.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Denton Gordon. I represent FacePen Vendor Center, located near FacePen, the Drug Center. Everybody supposed to know about it. We know about culture and about FacePen and how vibrant and how good it is. We deal with food, while she deal with heart, we deal with food, but it's a culture. And culture comes with fellowship.
It's also hard.
And without food and culture, you can't have fellowship. So, you know, when I heard about this and I got the invitation that we need to be here to represent, I say that it's a good place to start. And familiar faces are here, like Mr. Garrett, always there, Mr. Russell. I think when Mr. Russell just entered this place, it's my place. He ate the first time he entered FacePen and things. So and I did give him you know when I met him I said to him, say, Mr. Russell, what we can do for you to represent us. Because most of the time, the question is asked what you can do for us. You know? So, but we are happy. And, you know, we remember when Miss Asama was in position, she was there with us, you know, and she keep us going and so forth. So, you know, everybody is coming in now, we think we want them to come and assist us. You know, people think that FacePen is dead and out, but we're not. We're not. You know, everybody is blaming the toll road and things, but you can't blame the toll road. Are we supposed to do the necessary adjustment for us to keep going? Because improvement and development have to come and changes will make, but we can able to still go on no matter the situation may be. And, you know, I'm here representing FacePen because it's a choice of me being in FacePen. You know, as a young man, I started out as a teacher. And I retired early from the teacher and take up business beside my mom. I started business 2003. And you know, while business was going same way, and you know, the business is still in contact now because I used to work at Windalco, and I resigned from Windalco 2016 and go back into the business when the thing is smashing up. And it's still paying the bills, it's still doing the thing that it's supposed to do. You know, my problem is that while I try to cope with the system, you know, you need resilience to keep up. So, you know, the hands of those that can assist you to help to keep up, that's where we all want the help is. You know, we still have customers coming through. If you go YouTube, if you go TikTok, you will see what people tell you about the good customer service that they got when they come to FacePen. Because I represent Food Island in FacePen, and I'm telling you, people come and then get them nice food and get them stuff, and they're enjoying themselves. So I'm looking forward for those who having their hands working, that they don't forget us, but put us in play so we can continue on that journey. So others can come and people can come in and keep the business going. Thank you.
Hello? Could I sit down for this presentation?
Sure.
I worked both hands 8 weeks ago, and I just took off the class yesterday, so I'm a bit unsteady. Okay, my name is Denise Perkins, and I represent the community of Walkerswood. I'm also the president of the Parish Development Committee. To get to Church Festival. Okay, we restarted a farmers group in Walkerswood in 2018. I was the president for the first 4 years, and then in 2022, we got a new president. And in one of our meetings, so we keep looking at how we can improve our community. And at one meeting, one of our members, the new president said, why not put on a jerk festival? We all rallied behind him because we're all about community building. And we had our first jerk festival in 2023. Now, we all know that jerk came out of Portland. And after emancipation, people started coming into the community selling jerk because we knew who started jerk then. But fast track to the 2018, when 283, when the community again of walkers got together and we did some research. We were the first set of people to decide that we could commercialize jerk seasoning, and we put it in a bottle. So the Walkerswood community was the first community to put jerk in a bottle. What it is today. So we decided to put on this jerk festival. It was successful in 2022, and we did it again last year in 2024. And we hope to do it again this year and to continue exponentially as far as we can. It's all about culture. It's all about community building. For those who wonder what we do with some of the funds we get from the functions that we put on, well, we go about transforming our community center. We've gone about re-roofing our post office because we have quite a number of people in the community who really use the post office, and unfortunately the government doesn't pay any rent for it, so we have to maintain it. I'm not being political, but it's a fact. I'm glad Dr. Russell invited me here this evening because, for one, the beautiful music that was played in the beginning, I would hope that they could come to our festival, culture festival, and the last one. What's your name again?
Rastapura.
Okay, we can talk.
That's a
Bookings. Bookings.
Thank you, Dr. Russell.
No, but it is all about community building, and I really, we had a meeting since week about our Jerk Festival, and we're looking who could we come to, who could we get to help to entertain, because at our Jerk Festival we charge no entry fee, right? We have the vendors, and we want authentic people who could come and not jerk chicken alone. Heck no. You can jerk just about anything now, right? So come with some creativity. That's what we're looking forward to. And all the support for all the communities throughout Jamaica, not just Southeast St. Anne, right? We have open invitation to the vendors at Faith Spend. Nobody has taken it up so far, but that was open to them for the last 2 years. But we want some creativity in it. We're a creative community and country as a whole, and I think that we could go very far by inviting other people in to show us what they can do. Because as I said, this festival that we have started would go many years to come and beyond. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Itamar Alexander. I'm the CEO of Barricade Entertainment. I'm communicating with my bro over there, Mr. Mervyn Baker. Barricade Entertainment now is a representative of Jamaican dancehall and reggae music. Straightforward. Right now, we're doing a crazy amount of projects, about to drop an EP in a few weeks from now. Our last project was Loyal G single that was released November 22nd, 2024. Yeah, and we kind of looking at this system in Senton right now and see that we don't have much platform to showcase ourselves as young artists in the music business in Jamaica right now. We have to try to find Kingston or find Punishton or find Moneague to get the exposure where we actually need when we have Area FM right over there. And we have so many shows going on down here, but to showcase our talent, our people from Senton, actually impossible. We have to dig deep. Otherwise from that now, Itamar Barricade Entertainment is trying to establish an entertainment center out in Moneague Town. That's next door to Burnham Bar. Yeah, trying to get some more activities in this community because right now, no farm music, nothing money, nothing like that going on money. So we need to get that active. Young people can actually get involved because there's a lot of resources in the music right now. Right now I'm looking around inside here and don't see any one of the youths them from money but actually music. Let's have a family. Yeah, well at least we can go to Rasta. So that part of the culture, Jamaican culture, is being buried down in Senton down here, and we need to get that activated like right now. Respect our man.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You have heard the panelists. And I'm sure if you have one or two questions, or concerns, or, any solutions, I would ask you to share this time. Go ahead.
The name is Wendy Laws. I'm a member of the community. I'm also a member of the Jerk Festival Committee and the Common Benevolent Society. I was listening to the gentleman from Faith Spend, and it just dawned on me that you guys have a rich history in Faith Spend, but to put yourself on a platform, I think is what is needed. And then listening to the young DJ, I was just thinking, why not have a reggae show there, have it an annual thing to bring some traction back to Faith Spend. We have to think about collaborating the arts. I was saying to my committee that the JCDC every each each year has the festival shows and so on, and we are reaching out to them to get them onto our direct festival. But as it relates to how culture develops in our parish or even in just Southeast St. Anne, I am taken back because I went to the Basic Youth Festival last year and I did not see a good representation from the schools in this area at JCDC. And I'm holding this onus on the principals and the cultural development agents of the schools to ensure that the children are exposed to it and they participate in these festivals. As the principal of the Walkers at Basic School, it's on our platform for next year to ensure that we have entries in all areas for the 5-year-olds and 4-year-olds. And I'll suggest that from the faith spend level, we could do some collaboration, put on a show and make it an annual event. So if you pitch that there and you incorporate what is happening both in the schools and from the young DJ's perspective.
Yes, are there any other comments, questions?
Next one. They need
Yes.
to log on to Academy.
Go ahead.
They need to log on to Academy.
Okay. So I just want to ensure that you get some contact from Ms. Perkins so that we can have it going. Definitely.
And just to say that it is always the last Sunday in July that we put on this festival. So this year it will be the 27th of July.
All right, so make that a date, everybody, and let us all go out and support the Walkers Road Direct Festival. I was there last time, and I can tell you it was a good festival indeed. All right, it's growing, it's getting better. All right, so at this time, we are going to be having another session, a final questioning session, and so we're going to move right into the program. I'm going to ask my team to make their way back to your seats. And put your hands together again for our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, this time I invite Dr. Kenneth Russell, MP candidate for Southeast St. Anne, to make his way forward. Dr. Russell, put your hands together for Dr. Russell. I give you a focus on culture and community development in St. Anne, Southeast. Need the podium? Very good.
When the chairman gives you a podium, it means that expected to talk. Good evening, good afternoon. Good evening, everybody. We're 4 minutes from evening, but we'll take it. Let me recognize. The former member of parliament and former minister, former ambassador, and always quick to advise and always quick to counsel, somebody we can count on as a solid member of this community. Comrade and Ambassador Aluna Sanders. Thank you for being here. I want to acknowledge Comrade and Councillor Lord Garrick. Thank you for your kind words, sir, and your work with this division. We have lots of work to do together. I want to acknowledge as well the Minister of Culture and Creative Industries in waiting, Dr. Hinckley. I appreciate your time with us today. We dragged her around quite a bit today, and I'm hoping that she doesn't mind coming back if we ask her to. I also want to acknowledge her deputy. He's out of the room now, Colin Bell. Some of you might know him as Shaka fame, but he's here somewhere. Just to acknowledge him. But really importantly, and we've gotten some solid messages from the panel a while ago, I want to acknowledge all of those who are doing the work on the ground, all of those who are actively involved as creatives. And I see promoters here, I see DJs. So just by way of names, Ms. Facey, Laura Facey, Rastakura, Ms. Perkin, Benton. Thank you, sir. It's good to see you. And everybody else, if I don't name you, it's just, I just want to know that we welcome you here. Juju, glad to see you here, and everybody else. So I want to use this opportunity to do a couple of things. I want to talk a little bit about what it means for us as a constituency and more broadly as a parish to focus on our culture and to focus on our history. Because oftentimes we relegate it to an event, we relegate it to some specific day on the calendar. But we should think about it as something that's with us all the time, something that is who we are, but critically, something that we have to ensure that we are nourishing, something we are nurturing, because if we don't do that, we will lose it. We will lose it. You know, somebody told me last night about the jerk pan. But then the question that arose before we discussed the jerk pan was, where can you get jerk on a regular day between, don't start in Fatesville because you can get it in Fatesville, but if you're Moneague and you're on your way going towards Higgintown, go through Golden Grove, go through Claremont, continue on your way down. One place where regularly you can get jerk. Breadnut Hill. Okay. So you have to go around, but you see what I mean? So the story though is that we have not nurtured, we have not allowed that industry to evolve, we have not invested in it. And when you look at what we were using as the instrument, the jerk pan, that is quickly disappearing because of other changes that are taking place. So if we don't nurture this culture of ours, we will lose it. And so a part of what I want to see us commit to and work on is creating that inventory. There are stories told here today. I did not know that the Redemption Song statue was done here. I know of the artists living in the constituency. I didn't know the work was done here. How do we document these things? Earlier we were at Reynolds and we visited the theater and we visited the monument to mining and so on. How are young people accessing these things? Where do they learn about it? And so part of what I am suggesting is that we have to do a better job of creating that inventory and doing the work to restore. Because we're losing some of our cultural sites, we have to do the work to restore some of them. We went to Edinburgh Castle today. A lot of people don't know that story. As we talked about it on our way, we were convinced it has the making of a major motion picture. That should be a movie. And there's so many of these stories that are not being told. So many of them that we don't know well. And so I want to lead the effort to help to create that inventory and to help with the work to restore some of these cultural and historical sites. But another fact which I want you to think about, because there is money, a lot of money, related to history, culture, and it's from tourism, but it's from also creating the relevant products. But because of where we are, and if we think in terms of tourism, the person who is doing tourism, having a culture-based tourism experience, that traveler is likely to spend up to 2.5 times what a regular tourist will spend. Right? So if you come for sand and sea and have a good time and go back home, you're not going to spend as much as if you want to get on a motorbike, go up into the hills, go up to Moneague, spend some time on a farm, and so on and so forth. So we have to understand that there is increased value as well in that kind of packaging and marketing of our culture and our heritage. But imagine with me Southeast St. being a cultural destination. And what that means is that around the year, in July you have the festival in Walker's Wood. But what if in March or April there was something else taking place in March, something else was taking place in Fatesville, and something in Concord, and so on and so forth. So you're coming sometimes from multiple of those, but at any point, just about any point in the year you choose to come, there is something that is attractive, something that you can truly enjoy and have an amazing experience. And then we have to link that to the people and the communities, ensuring, as Laura showed us, that the young people in our community, because it's to go up here and talk about these things. It's another thing to ensure that our young people are experiencing, they are feeling that there is value in it for them as well. And of course, that they too are learning, right? Some things they learn almost automatically. But then there are other things which we have to create the structures for. So we have to ensure that our schools, the Moneague College, and so on, that they play a greater role in making sure that the culture is preserved and that we take full advantage of the economic side of it as well. So the agenda that we pursue, that I will do, will have a strong component which is focused on how we support local artists, local creatives, because we want them to get better. We want them to do good business because there is money to be made from it. Rastakura didn't tell you one of the things that he's involved with. I was talking with him this morning, and he was telling me he does a seed exchange, right? He has the festival, this one festival, and as part of that, there's a seeds exchange. And you might wonder, but really why? What has that got to do with culture? And it has everything to do with culture. Because you might come, you don't have the same breed, as we say, of a certain crop, and you're able to trade some seeds in exchange for another. So it's how we also think more broadly about what is culture, what is our heritage, and how do we use it to strengthen the bonds between us and ensure that our communities get better as a result. So there are many interlinkages which we can form with our farmers, as I just mentioned, with tourism, with our educational institutions, and of course, with our young people. And the point made here is a really important one. How is Walkers being supported by PortlandspiceTV? How is Moneague being supported by Walkers and so on and so forth? How do we create those bonds? And conversations like these is a first step, right? Because now, after this, we will share some numbers and you connect to each other and we go forward. So, the work that we have to do, this is a beginning of a conversation, but it has to be something that all of us embrace, all of us see the value in. And as the political leadership, I am committing to ensuring that we create the spaces and we find the resources to take full advantage of the amazing culture and history that we have as a As I wrap up, I want to say, I'm going to say a couple of DJs in the room. I have a dub already from Rastakura. I'm going to use one or two more. So I'm going to talk after this. Thank you, everybody, and thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to working with you as we build this cultural destination in Southeast Asia. Thank you.
Thanks again, Dr. Russell. As we move right into the rest of the program, I now invite the question. Will invite him wait until afterwards? Can you just, no? Thank you very much. And so we're going to play, Ambassador Alona Samba to take her time and make her way up. All the support. Yeah. Go. And she's going to give us a brief overview of her work as a former Minister of Tourism, Entertainment and Culture. And then she has a little task to do.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. And I would like to just say that Councillor Lloyd has recognized everybody, so I'm not going to take my short time to call people name and names. Okay, so I was the Member of Parliament for this constituency. We had a lot of plans. You must remember this is 20 years ago, things have moved from where they were 20 years ago to where they are now. There is a greater recognition for community-based activities now than it was 20 years ago. For example, Lord and I were just remembering that we tried to do a Moneague night out. That's what we call it, which would have allowed our visitors, local as well as tourists, to come to Moneague and bar hop. You know how much bar them have? And there is even more now, because I had gone to one of our Caribbean countries, and in the place where the volcano is. No, it's Grenada. We go, no, this particular one that I'm talking about. So we go to see, you know, the volcano, and we climb up, we go up and drive, go up the top of that. And in the evening, we did a bar up, a night out. I don't know the name of the little town, but it was called the night out. And we go to different bars. Now, the people who were hosting, they just did what they normally do, which is you play domino, you play any game or anything, and visitors come and buy. And they go back on their own, because in doing that they made friendships with people. We started it in Moneague, but we never got people to buy into it. I want to say something about faith spend. You know, sir, more and more people now take it all.
That's true.
Like me. Me not take it all. Because, first of all, when I was buying a car when I came home, I had to get what do you call it? A SUV. But I buy the lowest SUV because the toll is cheaper when the thing is lower. But even with my SUV, to take the toll to go to town and come back at $3,400 it costs per day. So I stopped driving on the toll. And I drive on the old road. Two things. I saved the money. And my sister said to me one day, you know, it's cooler to go the old road than when you drive on the toll. If it's cooler, it means you don't burn so much gas. And I see, as I'm doing that, more and more people. So I pass, pay, spend, and I see a little activity going on. You remember you said you asked the MP in waiting what you can do to help him to become the MP. I'm going to challenge you and your group. It look a little, you know the word machiated? Yeah. It look a little machiated. Only try to spruce it up a little bit now. Councillor Gary tells me that they had put in a project to the TEF and it don't reach anywhere. I have told him, send the project to me. It's me putting the TEF, you know. And now they're using it for everything except what it was put there to do. So I am prepared to put my weight behind that project. I am going to call Dr. Wallace and I am going to say to him, you have to give some money to spruce up money because it has great potential. You hear about, you know, I met Denise because of the work she was doing in Walker's Wood in those days when they were bottling something that you never hear about, bottling the jerk seasoning. But that is one activity. I see a sign out on the road about a kite festival at the Reynolds. That is an activity. People will come. And agriculture. I'm going to share a personal story with you. When my mother got ill and I was in the UK, my son came to live with her to make sure that I could have continued the work I was doing in the UK. We didn't have the level of technology we have now. No broadband, no Wi-Fi. And he had to do something because that was the business he was in. And he started to farm. He started an organic farm. And the word got around. Pretty soon, schools started calling him to come and tour the farm. So that was a secondary business. So he had the farming, and then he had the school tours. And then people started hearing about the school tours, and groups started saying, could they come and do a tour? And my son would show them how to make a bed by using blocks, and not having to dig in, but put something on the ground to prevent the weeds and so on. And people took that, so they left with something. He thought about composting and so on, and the word got around. Unfortunately, my son died, and we too old to carry that on. So I'm not doing it. But that is a vacuum that is here in this community. I tell you about Laura and I opened an exhibition. I saw a picture of it here that Laura had. It's 2 times I did it. One in Liverpool and one down in London. You remember? I have not been able to go and see Laura's exhibition up at Mount Plenty because we can't walk from the various things. So I was glad to see the pictures. But we have the town of Moneague, like every other place, like Edinburgh Castle, has rich, rich history. Why do you think this college is here? You know why this college is here? Because of the climate. This college is here because they wanted, and they built a hotel here. When there was the World's Fair that was happening in Kingston. And people come to the hotel, the Moneague Hotel, to stay the exhibition so that they could go to Kingston and so on and see the exhibition. Moneague, and I'm talking about Moneague, and I'm talking about PortlandspiceTV. Now that we have the highway, which other people will take, but not me. I mean, I like the name.
We are changing the name.
You reach to Caymanas, and half an hour you're there money. You're there money, and half an hour you're out on the North Coast. So there are opportunities, and I like the idea that the young gentleman talk about. Where are the performing spaces? We're not doing enough about live music. The band at the college is an excellent band. You heard them play. Yes. They're an excellent band. Why don't we have a place where, and look here, when I ask why don't we not ask government to do it, some well-thinking, forward-thinking entrepreneur that might have this space. When I used to have a couple of treats that I had at my house, you know who come and perform at my place? Richie Stevens, Boise. Well, some of you don't know these names because it's 20 years ago. Roy Ryan. Yeah, and we had I got musical instruments for Lloyd to set up a marching band at Moneague. Moneague Hot Steppers. You want me to tell you something that I heard from somebody who gave us some help? She said, the band start to perform before they even get the instruments. Because I invited her to come and see them, and they were out there doing everything, and they never get the instruments yet. So a lot of it is self-help. A lot of it is we have to see what is available, and I know that my friend Debbie will talk about a fund that we have promised that we will put in place to support the culture and entertainment industry. So I'm asking you, you are here because you are interested in the thought that we could do something here. Think about what you can do. And you don't have to start it big. That means when you had the Jerk Festival the first year, how much people come?
I think there was, 3,000 witnesses.
How much you think will come this year?
Yeah, about 6. We're looking for the lowest 6.
See then? You have to start somewhere. And as I use my son as the example, the first school that called me to come and do a tour of the place, he had no idea what they wanted. And a school come. And then another school come, because you know how teachers talk?
Yeah.
And there were times when I might have been home, 120 students are there, you know. And they started with probably 30. He used to say that he preferred the students who come from rural Jamaica than the ones that come from town, because the town one them too bad. And then they're really interested in the learning. But he made sure that they learned and they got a skill that they could take back with them and they tell other people. I've had principals come to me and said, boy, Mrs. Asamba, my school came up to your place and the children were so excited about what they learned because we talked about the history of the area and why the house and the farm was that name and what was across the road, and you could stay there and see the college and all of that. So let me tell you something that I learned as minister. That there is a story to tell about everything. And I'm not telling you to be dishonest, you know. But you can weave your story very well. If you ever go to Israel and you take the tours where they tell you about Jesus, they're not believing in Jesus, they're not. But they're making some serious money off of it. They're making some very serious money
off of Jesus.
They don't believe. But they're going to show you the Garden of Gethsemane, the upper room. They're going to show you the Dead Sea. They're going to show you the Sea of Galilee. And then they weave the stories that we know out of the Bible and some that we never know. Because they make that up. So I'm just saying to you, we have stories to tell.
Yes.
And as Kenneth said, the people who want to come out and talk and go into a community, they spend more money than the people who just go to the all-inclusives. So we have a great opportunity. And I'm very pleased, Kenneth, to hear that this is an area that you are looking in. And I know that Debbie will speak a little bit about what she saw. I put your flyer up on my Facebook page, and a lady from London sent me a message to say, tell him that they have to go to Edinburgh Castle. And what the whole name?
Hudson's Hole, Kenke
Hole. She said Hudson's Hole. So people see these things, you know, and they want to hear the stories. They want to hear the stories. So that's what I'm saying to you. Those of you who are in the entertainment and music business, find some venues. We need to find some venues. I go to my bed last night and I hear music going on from around the Macabush until 4 o'clock this morning. But what bothers me about that is that it's the same people buying from the same people. We want to bring people from the outside to come in and spend their money here in Southeast Center. Thank you very much. Oh, questions?
No.
Give it to Debbie. The last time I I was on the stage, I told my Achilles tendon because I was speaking to some young people and I could see that they were getting bored and I asked them if they know the song, Bend and Stretch, Reach for the Stars. You know it?
No.
No, we don't bend and stretch.
No, don't try it. Leave it alone.
You know, do it, you know. Because when I stretch and come back down, I hear pop.
Ochala.
I feel the foot go down. And I said, but it's not a hole in the foot drop, you know. But you see, I tell you the story, you're laughing. This is a story that you can tell, you know. I tell a story about, sorry, I just want to use the story thing, the storyteller thing. I tell a story about a lady. When I was high commissioner, I had drive and all the things, you know. But on Saturday, I used to take bus and go all kind of places. So I have this friend who tell me that me paying too much money to do my fingernail and the toes where I live, because of the Regent's Park place. So I must come with her. We're going to take the bus and go to a place named Peckham. You never hear about Peckham?
Yeah, I know Peckham.
You know Peckham? Yeah. There is a show on TV named Desmond's. Desmond's have a...
Peckham.
Eh? Yeah. Desmond have a barber shop in Peckham. That's all I know about Peckham. So we take the bus and we go down to Peckham. And we go across the road and a lady come out of the supermarket and she bumps into me. And she said, sorry. And I said to her, you're Jamaican? And she said, why is she stopped? And she said, why you say that? I said, because the English people that will knock you down on the ground and step over you and then not tell you sorry.
We're talking about that this evening.
So we talk a little bit. Now, by this is my friend. She walk up, she go on and she don't know me. And then we were talking and I said to her, where you from in Jamaica? Oh, she come from Albout. I said, you can't come from Albout. Where you come from in Jamaica?
No,
oh, she come from St. Mary, she come from Clarendon, she come from Spanish Town. No, I should have realized that. She didn't realize who I was. And she never said anything because in those days they were scraping up people and sending them home. Like what the US doing now. But they had these vans that had on the side of it. If you are an illegal alien, then call it, never say immigrant. So I thinking about it afterwards, I realized that. And so a young man bust the corner and see me. Hear the young man. Hi, Commissioner, what you doing on the sidewalk here in Peckham? Where your security, where your driver? Me have grown to my friend, she don't know, she don't go and she don't know me. Because she don't want to be part of this conversation. So when the lady hear that, the lady looked at me. She said, Lord Jesus, I have Commissioner for you. Lord, me daughter love music. We can take a picture. She whip out her phone and we take a picture. And then, of course, I had to stand up there for another 15 minutes.
Everybody else come
take a picture with everybody who passed. And before I reached back on my yard, it's all over Facebook. For me, take bus, go up Peckham. And no, I'm telling you that story. You hear that story? You don't think we're going to go on a stage. Why we can't have a stage in a Moneague or anywhere else? And because all of these stories, you know.
One of Reynolds will fix it up.
You mean the theater of Reynolds?
Yeah.
Well, we used to go there, you know. All right. Stop. Hello. Are you Mr. Collins? You stop it there because you're still on that. Anyway, I just tell you that little story to say that things that I would take for granted that is not a story. You laugh. Yeah. It's a story, it's just a little bit. But we all have stories about where we live. Those of you who too young to know about soldiering, a blind soldier who is still have money. You remember him? Soldiering. Every place have a story, you know. All right. I'm told that I'm to introduce you to Dr. Deborah Pickens Gordon. I've known her for a long time. She's the kind of person who I can tell you that I know her mother and I know her father. I know them well. I got to know Debbie though when she worked with the Honorable Portia Simpson Miller and did very good work. And then she finished her PhD. She's big PhD. Doctor that is real. I don't know what I mean by that. You have to forgive me, but we cannot do the little things. Dr. Debbie Pickering will take a few years of hard work to get it. Not like a few people who will call themselves doctor, and we don't know how they get that. Sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
All right. So she is the spokesperson for the People's National Party on the cultural industries and entertainment. The culture and creative industries, right? Which means, you know why I said that way? When I had it, I was Minister of Culture and Entertainment. That's a whole different thing from the cultural and creative industries. This means we intend to deal with the business of culture and the creative industries like a business. So the people who are doing this, they not just do a thing. This is their livelihood. This is how they're going to make their money. I've been involved in this thing for a long time, and I used to give speeches to the entertainment people, the artists and them. I used to say to them, we're not doing a thing. We need to organize yourself in a way that will allow you to make money. And for people to know that you're serious about your business. And then we'll have to pay you like how them pay them doctor and them lawyer. Because one thing we know, people are planning big function. They spend plenty of money on the food, plenty of money on the drinks. They spend plenty of money on the decoration, because now we have people whose business is decor. And when it comes to the entertainment, they want to ask them to do it for free. That have to stop. We have to get people to understand that that is the same thing what Laura is doing. We can't answer that right now. We are talking about business part of the entertainment. So that is our focus. Our focus is to recognize that this is a business and that we, Jamaica, when you go anywhere in the world and you say I come from Jamaica, reggae music, Bob Marley, me know. I must stop talking now. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Dr. Deborah Pickens Gordon. You know what I'm saying? I'm being a politician tonight. I'm being a politician no more, you know.
So, who said so?
Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, everybody. We reach evening now. Thank you, all of you who have stayed. It's been a wonderful afternoon into evening, and there are some people that I really have to acknowledge. First of all, I have to acknowledge Chairman, Mr. McCullough. I want to acknowledge for inviting me here and to thank him for inviting me here today, Dr. Kenneth Russell, your next member of Parliament. Aluna Sambo, she has been my mentor for this period that I have been exploring the world of politics and culture and Creative Industries for the last year. Councillor Lloyd, thank you very much for having me in your division. I want to recognize too and ask you to stand Colin Bell, the Deputy Shadow Minister of Culture and Creative Industries, and of course our junior spokesperson, Dr. Olivia Rose. We have a great team who work well together, and we're here to push culture and creative industries forward, and I'm really, really pleased we could all be here in Moneague. It's, wow, historic Moneague, and that band, I'm sorry they didn't stay. That was just absolutely remarkable. And just to say that this is why we're here to do what we do, to ensure that talent like that gets an opportunity to go further. We have a node in our in our plan that we call nurturing greatness, and that's what we want to do. We want to be able to nurture the talent that we see, so that it doesn't stop where it is. That people get an opportunity to move forward on a planned basis. That there are real opportunities. Just leave it as a hobby or something you may do in church and so on. But I want to say to you that your member of parliament, your upcoming member of parliament, is a visionary man, and it's because he's a visionary man. He has seen the potential of culture and creativity, and he has had this event. The whole culture tour and this event, and particularly in a place like St. Anne that has produced Bob Marley, Marcus Garvey, Burning Spear, newer people like Romain Virgo and Lucky Dean. And this place that has had 2 ministers of culture as your member of parliament, in addition to which you had a phenomenal pianist in the person of Seymour Foggy Mullins. This is a repository of culture, and we mustn't forget it. And we mustn't forget it because of its value. I want to talk about value. It's something we don't necessarily think about sometimes when we talk about culture. Now we're moving into this discussion of creative industries, but we have to remember that it starts with the culture. So it's not 2 different things. It's a continuum. You have to have the culture first, and then that moves and grows, and you then can use that expression to make a living and to create other forms of value, environmental value. And when we talk about that value now, that's the return on investment that a certain gentleman in Parliament said he couldn't find. Well, we know where to find it, and we are going to find it, and we know exactly where it is. And in this particular constituency, we found that value. We've seen that value. We've seen the opportunities today. We went to Edinburgh Castle today, and as Dr. Russell said, movie script, amazing movie, phenomenal movie. That's everything. It has all the pathos. It has everything that is required for a movie script. But it's also a phenomenal heritage site. And then suppose you put the 2 pieces together. Suppose you create an audio-visual representation on the very site. I went to Colombia and I saw something like that, and I was blown away. They had a historical presentation of a particular fort and the history of the fort, and it was all projected onto the walls, and it was remarkable. Why can't we do something like that? Why can't we take the audiovisual elements, the artistry, the story, and the heritage, put it all together and create these amazing experiences for our own people, but also for others who will want to come and visit. I've seen all these beautiful Watland dog houses. They are all picture perfect, and that's another part of your history. And there are people who will come, and if you put them in a catalog, people will come and visit them. They will drive from one to another to the next. Heritage tourism is one of the biggest forms of tourism. People come from overseas to visit graves. They will come, if you put it together, it's about packaging, and that's where you see the value. That's where you see the return on investment that somebody else has not been able to see. We stopped today by the grave of the late Seymour Mullings, and that was a very moving element. And as I say, there are people who will come to these historic churches and who will come and visit. And there are stories about these churches. There are documentaries to be made. And those documentaries have to be made by the people who have lived here, whose grandparents lived here, whose great-great-great-grandparents, and those stories have come through your families. And that's how you create value. That's what we're talking about today. So that's why we are here. And so I'm going to talk to you about, first of all, we have a couple of challenges in the cultural and creative industries. So I'm going to stop and make a couple of announcements. 0862KD, it's a Honda note, and then you are blocking. It's 8752GJ, a Subaru. You're blocking. 0236JA, a Honda. You are all blocking. If you're in here, you want to go home. Now, I want you to think that in every community that we visit, we are able to find 5 projects like the ones that I've named. If we were to just focus on 5 of those projects, what that will contribute to our GDP, what that will contribute to our community development. And then there are 5 more. The 4 people who came to sit up here, I decided that instead of saying some of the things that I wanted to say, I want to answer them directly. First of all, I want, Mrs. Facey has left. I was just about to speak to, you're here. I want to say that I don't think we recognize the value that we have in this constituency just by having Mrs. Facey and her installations here. And I think this is one of the things that we need to do, organize to ensure that the stories are told about the value that is reposed in constituencies like this. And it's about the business of art, but it's also about the soul of the community. And we thank you very much for contributing to the soul of Southeast St. Anne's. You're welcome. I want to speak to the faith spent people. As you sat down, have this thing, and get excited about opportunities. As we sat down, I thought about gastronomy. Now, what we've done, we have decided that people don't know necessarily what the creative industries are. So we've identified what they are, 20 of them, right? So we've done something that no government has done in ever. We have identified all the operational creative industries and the value that they bring, how to derive them. You can't define them, you can't count them, you can't plan for them. And one of them is gastronomy. Gastronomy is a huge industry. Face pen. I hear somebody say, clean up the place and fix it up nice and so. Where's the face pen gentleman? Right here. Then suppose you have a little Saturday, something. Every Saturday you get some music in there, you get some decorate the place nice, work out the things so that you have a thing that people can come to. Face pen is close to my heart. When I was an adult university student, I was working at Siboney Ochereas, right here in St. Anne, and I had to drive to the university 3 times a week. And I would close the nightclub at 2 o'clock, and I would end up at Face Pen at 10, and I would drive, and I would stop at Face Pen and sleep for an hour. In the car, And there was a lady there named Miss B. God bless her. And she would give me a cup of tea every morning and a little breakfast, and I would head on to school. That is a place that you have the space, you have the opportunities, you have a live tourism market. Just down the road, they drive past you to go on tours everywhere across this country. Create a tour of your own. Bring the people off the highway. Make it, there's a place in Golden Spring, I think, that does a Saturday food festival, something. Yeah? Underwater, yes. Create an event, create an experience, make it happen. Then there's the Walker's Wood. Again, gastronomy. And you're known for your innovation. So work with PortlandSpice to create this activity. And not just for tourism, but for our own people. And then for the craft, there was somebody from craft. There is the issue of getting the producers to meet the vendors. That's one of the things that we have to do and we're going to be working on. And we've started to actually look at how we could do that. And then there's the dance hall showcasing. Again, team up with Walker's Group Wood. They have the information right there. So that now takes me to our plan. We have what we call a 5G plan. We sat down together, this little team here, and a couple of other people, we all sat down together. And one of the problems that we've had in Jamaican culture and creative industries is that there's been no plan. There's been a lot of research, there's been a lot of information, but there's been no plan. And so what we did is we sat down and we worked out what needs to be done to ensure that our artists are no longer struggling and that our creatives have opportunities and that they get the respect that they need. One of the issues is that we less count our creatives, and we really have to stop that. And that is the reason why the Prime Minister could stand up in Parliament and say that he sees no way to find, he's cautious about finding a return on investment for cultural and creative industries. That's a caution, that's not a caution. That's a confession. That's a confession that they don't know what to do. Well, we know what to do. Right, Colin?
Sure.
Right, Olivia? We know what to do. All right. So, here are some of the things that we need to know. In Parliament this week, Mark Golding, the opposition leader, and our finance spokesperson, Julian Robinson, outlined a plan that they call the 4 E's plan. And one of those E's was on the emerging industries. And among the emerging industries, you have digital, sport, the environment, and the cultural and creative industries. By naming the cultural and creative industries as a part of the growth plan, this was the first time, and I want you to hear me good, and I want you to tell everybody that you meet. This is the first time in the history of any leader of this country that an incoming government or any leader at all has named cultural and creative industries as part of an economic growth plan. The very first. That goes to show you that we take it seriously. I think that deserves a clap, and I think Mr. Golding deserves a clap for that. And following on that, the Prime Minister still admits that he don't know where to find the growth. Sure. The second thing about that is that we now have to implement our plan. So that's the 4 E's plan. So we came up with what we call the 5 G's plan. Right? So you have the E's and you have the G's. So we decide, the first thing we have to understand is that we're nurturing greatness. You saw those students today. They represent the greatness in this country. And we need to do the things that need to be done to ensure that they can matriculate through a system and they can move forward and they can become performers, or they can, whatever area they're in across these 20 cultural and creative industries that we've identified. And then the second one is sustainable development goals, G being the goals. And that means that we're coming into your communities. We're going to be working in communities. We're placing an emphasis on communities. And that's why the theater that I saw today, that really excited me, because it is one of the few theaters that I have seen, and in particular a community theater that has what we call a fly gallery. You know what that means? A fly gallery is a thing at the back of the theater where the sets go up and down. And it's very, very rare to find theaters like that. That means that it is a hidden treasure. It's an absolute hidden treasure. And so what if we go about looking at some of these things that need to be renovated, some of this infrastructure that we need to be renovated, so that we get communities back in get communities back, so that we can do training for students. We can get youth clubs. We can get people involved in theatre themselves to come and tour through St. Anne. Wouldn't you all want to go to a play every now and then? One Sunday evening, you just up and put on your dandan and you go to your play? Yeah. All right. So that's what we need to be doing. We need to be restoring some of these areas. So that's sustainable development goals. We want to ensure that we have a single regulatory authority. All those people who putting on dance, putting on round robins, putting on activities, that they don't have to be running around from the municipality to the police, to the fire, to the so-and-so, to the so-and-so. So if we put in the systems, right? We put in the systems, so that people are putting on events, and we work with the municipality, and we say, let us have some standard rates. We have a set of rates that people can say that they know what they're coming into before. They don't get hijacked by so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so, so we know the things, right? All right. So that's sustainable development goals. And we're going for growth now. Mr. Marky G said that is what we're doing now. We're going for growth. And Mr. Colin here tell me said that of the $3 trillion US dollars that the cultural and creative industries earns worldwide, that we can earn 0.5% of that. How much money is that, Mr. Bell?
15 billion US dollars annually.
15 billion US dollars annually. And why we can't set aside on that? It's there to be taken. We're leaving money on the table by not getting involved in the process. We just need to get involved in the process and do it right. And that's what we mean by going for growth. And that means that there's a lot of technical work that needs to be done. The kind of work that nobody wants to hear. But we're not into the flossing and the photographs. That's the way. What we want to do is go and do the technical work so that we can earn that 15 billion US dollars.
So they can do the flossing.
So
you all can do the flossing.
Can do the flossing. The next G is governance. We want a transparent cultural and creative industries. We want to know that when we're doing the entertainment zones, that we're not eroding the people in the environment and nobody don't know about it. We want to know that when we're working out the entertainment zones, that the community has been consulted and they know what is happening before it happens. And the community can say, no. Not on a Thursday night.
Or we don't want it here, so
we don't want it here. We want it somewhere else. Or Thursday night, the churches are doing their thing. So you do your thing on a Friday night, right? The communities must have a say in it. And that's why it was designed by Damian Crawford originally. And we're going with the RAS design, right? That's what we're going with. All right. The last one now. So we want transparency, we want inclusion. We want to know when every cultural and creative individual walks into a ministry of culture, that somebody greets them with respect. and say, good morning, sir. How can I help you? And might give you a computer so that you can go and sign up on the registry. And that everybody becomes a part of their own sector. That is about inclusion. Because it don't stay so now. If you don't know, who know who know who know who like who don't like who,
And if
who
they don't,
vote who,
and if they don't know you,
right, then nothing can get done. We're not interested in that. We're interested in putting some proper systems in place, and that's what we're going to be doing. And the last one, big things. We want to take it global. We're very clear. Jamaica's cultural and creative industries have already gone global, but they're not earning the 15 billion US dollars that Mr. Bell tells us that we can make, right? So we want to really take it global, but in order to do that, there's hard work that needs to be done. There's an area that we call trade, international trade, right? So what we need to be doing is creating the relationships that need to be made in order to make it easier for our people to travel, to tour, to get involved in contracts with other international countries. We need to be starting out our investment. What is it that you can't take a piece of artwork to the bank and say, I would like to borrow against it? We need to be able to deal with the financial inclusion issues. We need to be able to deal with the investment issues. We want to know that we can bring people in to invest in community activities, and they will put the money on the table. But you have to have products of a particular standard. So we want to bring your products to a particular standard so we can bring the investors to you and you to the investors. Right? Those are the plans that we have. And we're not going to stop till we do it. You know why? Because we are all in it, and we've all been in it, and we've all had the problems that you had. We've all had the payroll at the end of the event that we can't meet, and we don't know where it's coming from. We've all had the disrespect as artists and creatives that others have suffered. We've all had our work being ignored and sidelined, and we've all sat in a country where our Prime Minister can tell us he doesn't see us as a return on investment. And as a result, the two individuals who have done the most prolific artistic work in this country, Louise Bennett and Robert Nesta Marley, are not good enough to be heroes. You can be icons, but they're not good enough. Well, I want to tell you, cultural and creative industries is not only value, it is who we are, it is what we are, and with them say we little but we Talawa, but we are ready to transcend Talawa. That's where we're going. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Greenwood. And so at this time, the floor is going to be open for some questions and some answers. You know, we have gone way beyond our time, and we want to make sure that all of your questions and concerns are aired. And so at this time, I now open the floor for any questions that you may want to ask.
Good evening, everybody. I don't really have a question, but just to add to what Dr. Eklund said, that we are involved in the culture and the creative industry. And to walk us wood, my name is Colin Bell. I am the promoter for the Boston Jerk Festival. Been involved in it from 2003, and it is on the 13th of July. Second Sunday of July every year. We invite you. Thank you very much.
Questions, concerns, issues, comments?
Ask questions.
Comments. My job was that I have a registered sole trader Arcade Entertainment is registered with what I call it again, Jamaica. No man, companies business officer.
Yes, that's a good thing.
Then now I've been keeping events on police and tell them they're more powerful than people now.
You know, as a part of our preparation of the policy, making it a formal.
Police personal intelligence and
Yeah. Yes. And one of the things we realize is that there is a level of training and information that there are many people, even within the police, within the public sector, who don't understand what we do and don't understand the value of what we do. There has been a paper that has shown us how much money, and it's not coming to mind at the moment, how much money that round robins and small events actually make. There is that economic analysis has been done. So one of the things that we decided that we are going to do as a part of the process is we're going to do some sensitization of government agencies, including the police, and in particular the police, because we know that we have heard that there are issues where the police are actually going around and saying to men and boys that they can't gather, and they use existing legislation to scrape up people, and that we've also had complaints from promoters that the police deal with wide up, that kind of behavior. And we really want to sensitize the police who are doing their jobs. We want to recognize that when a police officer comes into a space, we are going to assume that he's there to do the job that he's meant to do, right? But we want to ensure that he does it in a way that you retain your dignity and he's able to do what he needs to do.
My certificate should give me a right to do my job.
Well, there are also laws that will tell you exactly how that job can be done. And there are laws on books that tell you about decibel level, that tell you about how long you can go on, that